Hello there, and welcome to another of Andre's Artist Profile. Now today, I am profiling the birthday of Chrissie Hynde, who was, of course, the lead singer and one of the songwriters for The Pretenders, as well as their guitar player. Now, The Pretenders' first album came out in 1980, and this is it. It was simply called The Pretenders. And this album has really some wonderful guitar-driven new wave on it. The whole album's fantastic in that regard. I mean, you know, I'm sure in the guitar power pop kind of league in new wave, this album is filled with standards. But most people are going to remember this song for Brass in Pocket, and what a hit to be remembered for. I mean, it really has nothing to do with the rest of the album. It's much cleaner. There's much more of a raw guitar flavor filled with intense hooks for the rest of this album. It's a really hooky album, you know. If you like your guitar pop filled with unbeatable hooks, this is going to be the album for you. You know, it's great, and Chrissie Hynde's songwriting is just so fantastic. So they followed it up with another album of the exact same thing. You might be thinking, they're kind of getting boring, but the drumming and the rhythmic interaction actually gets a little more interesting. Maybe there's a tad more of an edge on this album than there was in the first, but still really, really good. There's really no, kind of, standout on this. This is one of those great full-length albums. Okay, so after this, two of the members die. This album, a lot of people say this has nothing to do with The Pretenders. This is just a Chrissie Hynde solo album with a bunch of backing players, but it's still The Pretenders. And of course, this was when they really started to have a lot more hits. Learning to Crawl, Back on the Chain Gang. I heard that one, so much. There's some really some really wonderful songs on here, like 200 Miles. Okay, now I know that My City Was Gone is used as the theme song for the Rush Limbaugh radio show. You know anything about Chrissie Hynde? How little does he know? Okay, moving on. She re-ups with a new edition of The Pretenders, which you'll see on the back. Nothing to do with the early band. For this album called Get Close. By this time, a lot of people are thinking, yeah, it's really a Chrissie Hynde solo project. But she had a great song on here called Don't Get Me Wrong. On this album, she's starting to move more toward a soul rock flavor, which is very interesting, but it's more focused on songwriting and hooks and choruses than, power pop. But, she's changing and adapting and growing, and I really appreciate this album. I think a lot more Pretenders fans might want to consider that. Packed. Okay, this doesn't really hold a lot of value with Pretenders fans because it's kind of like, it's obviously Chrissie Hynde's upper face on the cover. It's really her solo album, but she's using the Pretenders name. But, okay, so this album, I don't even know what it had for a hit on it, but this is a really good album. Like Get Close, it's kind of on the soul rock side, singer-songwriter. It's a really good album. More emphasis on the songs and the music, but Chrissie Hynde's so great at that, it doesn't matter. Now, I haven't listened to this album all the way through yet, and I'm not sure if this is true, but I believe the late Linda McCartney actually shot the cover art for this, which actually was kind of designed to look like a communist propaganda poster from the 1920s or 30s. I believe it's called Hooray for Love, but it's Viva el Amor. I think that's what it is. This was kind of their comeback album after several years of not recording, but anyway. So, that's my Pretenders collection. Actually, they made a serious rebound after that and started recording more albums, but, I think most people think of the classic Pretenders like on this album, but Chrissie Hynde has more or less been the consistent heart and soul of them through this entire thing. There have been other musicians who were involved, but she's really been the heart and soul of the Pretenders. So, happy birthday, and I'll see you next time on Andre's Artists Profiles.